This was a good fight. Ricky Burns impressed me. I didn't do a pre-fight video on this, basically because I wasn't overly interested in Ricky Burns. I thought, you know, he's a shot fighter, end of his career, been in too many hard fights, and he's got nothing left to offer. But we saw a different side to Ricky Burns in this fight. I mean, from the first minute he came out, really aggressive. He showed a lot of ambition. He was pumping a fast jab, you know, throwing nice shots, and yeah, he was having some success against Figueroa. Put simply, Burns dominated this fight on the outside. I mean, Figueroa was making Burns look like Floyd Mayweather from the outside. The difficulty was that 90% of the fight was spent inside a phone booth rather than on the outside, and Figueroa was relentlessly aggressive in terms of coming forward and wouldn't allow Burns the space. I felt Burns performed with credit, but could have possibly done with a bit more foot speed. You know, had he been able to take a step back, put another foot between himself and Figueroa, I think he would have had enough to get the job done. In many ways, the fight resembled Kell Brook, Shawn Porter, but possibly Kell Brook and Shawn Porter both being superior examples of their styles than Burns and Figueroa. Figueroa forced the action, nice work on the inside, you know, lovely come forward, uppercuts, you know, huge punch output, both guys hugely fit. Good fight to watch, absolute battle, absolute brawl, however you want to phrase it. I really feel Figueroa is not going anywhere fast though. I mean, he had a huge weight advantage over Ricky Burns, but didn't seem to carry enough power to hurt Burns whatsoever. He's so easy to outbox, you know, if he's going to move up to 147, someone like Kell Brook destroys him. You know, he can be picked apart from the outside. Guys like Chris Algieri, guys like Devon Alexander, I mean, that sort of level of guy has a real chance of beating him. Even a fighter like Frankie Gavin, I'd say, would have quite a good chance of beating him. You know, Ricky Burns could well have beaten him 2 or 3 years ago at lightweight, you know, when Burns was a bit younger and a bit fresher. But I felt today that Burns maybe had one too many miles on the clock, and he couldn't take a step back, wheel away, in the same sense that a younger fighter could. But he humiliated him from the outside. The Burns jab was effective. Unfortunately, Burns had 2 points deducted for holding, leaning, whatever you want to phrase it. So when the scorecards were read out, even though I was pretty confident Figueroa would have got the decision anyway, there was no kind of mystery because, yeah, there was no way Burns was winning enough rounds with 2 points deducted. Side note, bizarre performance from the referee. He didn't seem to know whether he wanted to break them up on the inside or not, so he resorted to kind of tugging on Burns' arms, and it was terrible because, you know, Burns was obviously keeping his arms in tight, like defending himself when he was holding, and the referee was kind of pulling it back, so, yeah, exposing Burns and leaving Burns potentially defensively open to taking shots from Figueroa, who was working on the inside with the hooks and the uppercuts. So, terrible performance by the referee. In my opinion, that guy should never be allowed to referee again. It was, you know, disgusting. Ricky Burns, he showed he's got something left. It was a vastly improved performance from Ricky Burns' last 2 or 3 outings, and yeah, he showed real capability with the jab, but unfortunately came up against a guy who was too young and too fit and possibly too big for him tonight. Omar Figueroa, he's going to lose very soon. Maybe he'll have a bit more success if he's able to stay at 135, but up against the bigger boys, he doesn't carry the power, he doesn't have the range, and when he faces someone who's a bit bigger and a bit heavier handed than Burns, he'll get destroyed from the outside. Let me know your thoughts. As always, keen to discuss.